Hey, screeners, how you doing? It's myself, the one AJ, Anthony Jordan.
Third up, too sweet. Me too, Nico Leroux. Shout out to my Nicoholics. What up?
Okay, guys. Okay, well, today's the 1st of June. We are slightly off, but it's a bank holiday. We had to live life our way as well. Just want to put it out there. The silver screen dude in training is 14 years old today. Happy birthday to the one and only Mr. Zany at Zane168 on Instagram. I nearly checked my phone, but I don't need to. Or is it Zany168?
Zane168, mate.
It is 168. There we go. So that's the one. So shout out to him. And well, yeah, I think he's allowed to follow. If not, you have to request it, and he'll let you know if you can.
And we're not grooming anyone. Just in case, I want to put that out there. This is your nephew.
Exactly. Yeah, it is my nephew.
Oh, I just fucking brain went to some weird places. I was out there.
I know. But it's a long-term fan. Yeah. So there is parental permission in this, or guardian permission in this. He's been a winner on our shows before when we were giving away prizes. It's all there, so it's all legal. And guys, no, if it is your birthday or you have a loved one who listens to the Movie Mount Rushmore or any Silver Screen Dude production, feel free to hit us up and we will be sure to shout them out.
Yeah, man.
Sharing is caring, so that's the one.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so we are here once again for another exciting episode. If you haven't read the title and you just press the button, this one we thought we would celebrate the bad guys. And coincidentally, this wasn't planned, but I thought of it. So our topic is movies where the bad guy wins. Not that it was necessarily the bad guy or bad girl, but it could be also tied in with the recent release of Cruella.
Thought you were going to go there. Yeah.
Which is on Disney Plus and in your cinemas. Have you seen it as yet?
No. I haven't seen it as yet. But can I tell you, I saw the trailer, the third trailer, which dropped last night it was on Channel 4, I believe, for The Conjuring 3. And it made me go, oh, that's why I want to go to the cinema. It looks so good.
So near where the missus lives, there's the Everyman Cinema.
Mm.
And I saw the poster for The Devil Made Me, and I was like, oh, it's coming, or is it out? Like, I was like, oh my God, yeah. That needs to be seen. So it's funny that we're on the same wave. Shout out to all the kids on holiday. I know a lot of you younger listeners will be looking out for Peter Rabbit too. So like, it's a good thing to just celebrate that. Cinema.
Yeah, you know what? I was looking forward to Peter Rabbit too because I've always liked Beatrix Potter. Then I found out the fucking James Corden voiced him, and I was like, nope, I'm out.
Did you see or enjoy the reunion? The Friends reunion, I'm talking?
I haven't watched it yet. I really need to. The problem is that the missus is. This is one of those rarities. Not a Friends fan.
Do you know, it's so weird. So like, you go to Facebook right after all of this is kicked off, and there are people like, am I the only one who's never watched an episode of Friends? And there were so many people like, oh, I've never been a fan of all these US sitcoms and this. And I'm like, what? Friends? Like, this is Friends. Like, how? No. Yeah. But hey, it happened. I mean,
Friends is the big one, man.
I still need to say it. I haven't seen every episode, which kind of does me in. But no, I haven't.
It's on Netflix, brother. There's no excuse.
Listen, I'm going for it. I saw the. Do you know what it is? I think it's because I've seen the end. I'm like, I know how to fill in the gaps, but I just want to just go from Ep 1 and just do my binge. So that will come in its own time.
I've done Friends coast to coast about 3 times, I think.
Good on you. Good on you. It's whatever. It's Friends, man. It's Friends.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, I tell you what. Having seen Friends reunion, I saw it literally the morning after it came out. Just the emotion you get from seeing. It's not a spoiler. David Schwimmer, aka Ross. He's like the first to turn up, and you just see him walking through the set, and the amount of nostalgia that kicks into it, and then they all start coming in one by one. I didn't fully drop it here, but I was welling up. Man.
Nice.
It was nice. And Corden's not overly involved.
Fucking like hour-long episode or something though. That would have been better. But
it would have been. One thing I respect highly, and Lisa Kudrow, aka Phoebe, I'm really throwing them all out there today. One thing she mentioned is that the writers actually said they would never do a Friends movie or extra series or episode or anything like that because they gave everyone the perfect ending. And in order to create another episode or anything, you would have to unravel that perfect ending to create something to give you that last bit. To which I was like, I get it.
It was a great ending. I don't know about perfect, but it was a damn good ending.
I I would also hinge on the Joey follow-up kind of unhinged perfect ending for him for sure.
Yeah, I never saw Joey, believe it or not.
It wasn't great.
I've heard this. I think The Office had a perfect ending. The US Office.
I wouldn't know.
So good.
Okay.
So good. What else has happened in the world? Haha!
Oh, yes. Three times I forgot to say that. Okay, for those of you who are listening to this podcast, Nico is flashing Stamford Bridge SW6. Chelsea Football Club. Yes, congratulations to you, sir. Your team are now 2 times champions of Europe.
Sweet!
We respect that and congratulate you. That's a big one.
We're the only team in London with the European Cup 2 times.
Congratulations. I actually had the pleasure of meeting Mr. Florent Malouda on Friday.
I saw this. You told me about this. Nice guy?
He is. Really, he was like really humble, really easygoing. And I was just like, yeah, that's all kinds of cool. He was all kinds of cool, man. So, virtually, but still really good. Like, yeah. One of these few pleasures we get in the world. I was shocked, actually. Didn't even know it was coming. I was like, oh, shit, you're a guest. Okay, wow, cool. Hello. I nearly broke into French, and then like the host was there, and I'm like, I'm not going to steal the thunder from the host of this show I was helping out on. So, but yeah, no, that was all kinds of cool. That's
pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, but also Cruella. It's not a bad film. Right, like for me, it's a 6.5. I've actually had the pleasure of watching it already. Not in cinema, Disney Plus.
Kind of like Devil Wears Prada meets 101 Dalmatians.
Bro, do you know what we called it? What did we call it? We called it like Oliver meets Devil Wears Prada. Then
Oliver, with the old anime with the dogs.
No, Oliver Twist. Yeah.
Oliver meets Devil Wears Prada. Interesting.
It's Oliver Twist. Like you have this Oliver Twist moment as it starts off, which then transitions into Devil Wears Prada, and then it has a
prequel, right?
It's a prequel. It's a full-on prequel. What they've done, which was weird though, is that they give you a good enough reason why Cruella will want to do what she does with Dalmatians and want Dalmatian fur and have a hate for Dalmatians, right? But in the same vein, it doesn't make perfect sense. And I can't say it without going into spoiler territory, but it's like, well, why would you have done this if you hate them so much? And it just doesn't work. And if you wanted to do that, you could have done it from here, but you haven't. Like when you see the ending, you'll know exactly what I'm saying. And I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, and I don't know Disney's plans, I haven't even looked into it, 101 Dalmatians may be retold with a follow-up. So it's a prequel, but it has its own kind of universe, if you would, because things are slightly skewed in terms of everyone else's origin based on Cruella. But it's a decent film.
I mean, Maleficent here's looking at you. It's not the first time Disney would have done something where they've kind of rewritten the history books.
Yeah. At first, and I have to say this, I heard Emma Stone's British accent, and I was like, oh, God.
Not good? Really?
At the beginning, I just thought it just bugged me. It just felt like too posh, and it was a bit weird. But then there's a nice spin on it where there is a point where someone goes, "Why are you keeping that accent up?" And I was like, "Oh, I like that." So it all kind of plays in. So do bear with it, people. And no, it's a good film. I enjoyed it. To me, it's not amazing. There are certain parts I'm like, okay, but you know, it's above average. 6.5, touching 7, easy.
So your bog standard Disney live action movie score.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
Pretty much. But no, that was cool.
Be on the lookout for that.
Do indeed. Right, okay.
Let's do it.
Let's do this. Okay. So, over to you, sir. Would you like to tell anyone who's not listened to the Movie Mount Rushmore what the Movie Mount Rushmore is all about?
That's the one. So for those of you tuning in for the first time, thank you so much for joining us, first of all. If you are watching us on YouTube, please give the video a like. Share it. That would be really helpful. Helps us with the algorithms. And do hit that subscribe button. Normally, the Movie Mount Rushmore comes out every single Monday on our YouTube channel. If you are listening to us on podcast, then you are one of our 30,000 plus podcast followers. Thank you, first of all. But how does the Movie Mount Rushmore actually work? AJ and I each get us on topic. We go our separate ways, and we come right back here into recording and deliver to you, the Silver Screen Dudes, our individual top 10s. This week, AJ will go first.
Do I?
Delivering his bottom 3. think you go first, delivering your bottom three. And then I deliver my bottom three. AJ will deliver his next two. I will deliver my next two. And then we will trade one apiece. If at any time, while we are running off our individual top 10 lists, one person has a movie in the higher position, that person will say...
punt.
And we will punt and talk about that movie when we get to the higher position. Once we have both rounded off our individual top 10s, we will create the movie Mount Rushmore. These are the 4 quintessential diverse must-see movies of the genre, which this week is...
movies where the bad guy wins. I should say where the villain wins, isn't it? But it's the term bad guy. I'm not directly saying guys only, people. Mind you, most of my selections are, but that's not the point. We are gender neutral in this. It's just a term. I'm the bad guy. That's what we're going to. Shout out to Rosa Ramon, aka Scott Hall. A lot of AKAs today.
Hey,
right.
Yo.
Okay. Hey, yo. Right. Talking about the bad guys, we're going to go to some bad motherfuckers for my number 10. Of course, we are talking about The 300, the film that will forever be my regret that I never got to see in cinema. 300.
Ooh.
This is Sparta.
So
Right,
good.
Awesome movie. As I always say when it comes to this film, it's the biggest regret that I had the chance to see this film for free in the cinema, chose not to. DVD came out and I was blown away. It's obviously the story of the 300 Spartans going to war, doing what they do best, and they are some jacked adrenaline junkies, man. Like you can't not feel pumped watching this film. But ultimately, they do come across the big bad, at which King Leonidas has to fall, and it's a bit of an anticlimax. But you still salute these guys for what they do. To this day, still haven't seen 300 Part 2.
It's all right. Do you know what? I think it gets unfairly bashed. It can't hold a candle to the first. That was lightning in a bottle. But it's it's a fun watch.
Sure.
The thing is that they switched their focus. You know, the problem with 302 is that you come back wanting more Sparta and you get Athens. It's like, well, I'm pretty sure in the first movie they were called philosophers and boy lovers. So, not that there's anything wrong in the modern context of loving boys, but in that time,
but
you're talking about macho men doing macho things, and there's even an angry macho sex scene, and it's like to a Spartan, it's like, you shall not love boys, so we shall say it as an insult. And if those philosophers and boy lovers. So this is the thing. The Athenians have kind of been set up to be pussies from the first movie. So here you come in and you're like, yeah, they're not such pussies. They're kind of bad motherfuckers too.
Fair enough. Yeah. So breaks the mold of what you came in for, which then spins you out. I get it. But no, there is no. It's funny enough. This one I nearly forgot about it, and I was like, of course, this was this is one of my first films where the bad guy wins, and I was like, yeah. And anytime there's a chance to bring up 300, I'm going to bring it in. I'm actually shocked it was number 10, but I've got to be honest. This list of villains winning actually shocked me at how tough it was to actually play some of these films. Like you look at them and you're like, that can't go there. No, but there are some solid films. It's not that out of the realm. So yeah, that's that. So one of my favorites, 300, in at number 10. In at number 9, another one of my favorites, just released just a little bit before it. We are talking John Cusack, Ray Liotta, and Amanda Peet in Identity.
You love this film.
Love it. Are you not a fan?
No, I love it too. It's great.
I'm going to be like, oh my God, is that one of those that should have
No. I'm a big fan of Identity, but your love for this film supersedes my own.
Bro, do you know what it is? There's a part of me that at one point, I think, missed the beginning explanation of it's someone with a personality crisis. But you see one thing, but then I think I saw it, but then I read them as two very different stories, and then I started to understand what it was. And it is that it's a person who has a multiple person disorder. And through that, all the different personalities that he is meet in this cabin. But one of the characters is a serial killer. And what they have to do now is try to, in order to, a form of therapy, essentially. They're trying to eliminate all of the other characters, but mainly, more than anything, eliminate the bad egg, the rotten apple that is within this personality. Excuse me 1 second.
I think AJ is telling the background to shut the fuck up.
Basically, yeah. So apologies for that, guys. I am back. And what happens is, so in that process of elimination, all of the characters slowly getting picked off. But I like the small nuances that happen in the beginning, where everyone's like trying to figure out why they're in the cabin, and it's like, my birthday's on this, and they find all these little commonalities between them, and it's like, why are we here? How did this happen? And everyone starts to get picked off, and guys, in a thing where the title is called "Where the Bad Guy Wins," it's kind of hard to be spoiler free. Let's be honest. So it's like, I don't want to give the spoiler away, but yeah, kind of get it. And it's, you kind of think that
Horrors don't get a second chance,
bro. That line always stuck in my head. I always remember. I was like, hold on, the kid's still there. The kid's still there, and you just hear that line, "Horrors don't get a second chance," and then whoosh, and you're like, damn. Absolutely awesome. It's one of those films that I just feel doesn't get enough love, if I'm honest. If I'm very honest, I feel Identity doesn't get enough love out there. It's not one of those films I hear get brought up enough, but I would highly recommend it to anyone who has.
It's mixed, it's not, it hasn't invited the level of criticism that Crash has over the years, but I've heard a lot of people equally love and equally bash this film.
The Marmite of movies.
Literally.
Funny enough, we were having that convo about Marmite the other day, and I was saying to someone just yesterday, actually, I have to be the only person who's actually been on the spectrum when it comes to Marmite. Like, as a kid, I actually really enjoyed Marmite. Took about a 5 to 10 year gap. That's a huge gap to try and figure out. I mean, let's go with 10 years. I've never been able to go back to Marmite since. It's weird. I've both.
You're wrong, but that's fine.
Bro, do you know what? I might be able to try it again. I've always just looked at it like, I don't know if I want to try that, but yeah, I've been.
Marmite in some pasta with butter and some nice mature cheese over the top.
Nice. It may well happen. So that is this. That was my number 9, and my final entry in at number 8. Tommy Lee Jones, Javier Bardem, and Josh Brolin, No Country for Old Men,
and Woody Harrelson.
I do you know what? I just looked at the poster more than anything. Yeah.
Great film. Great fucking film.
Do you know what? It's one of those films. I saw it for the first time when we done our Josh Brolin episode, and one of the reasons, the sin for this movie, I think, is sometimes the length. It's very silent and dragging. Not that it's painful.
It's the double ending, isn't it?
Yeah.
Double ending.
It's in a way that it's like, well, you could have wrapped it up, but the slow pace behind it, I think it's a film that you appreciate more the second time around, if I'm honest. Because the first time you're like, but when you really stop and take it in, it really gives essence to the cat and mouse game behind it. It really shows you what the chase is about, and essentially,
it's atmospheric as fuck. Like, they really do convey the sense of being stalked well. By the way, if you like this shit, go play Resident Evil Village.
Bro, like, by the way, this is another thing that's on my mind. I keep telling you to do this, and we will be doing this shortly. I like, the VR is in my possession. I just need to muck about with my cousin's PS4, delete some stuff, and you can play Resi 7 in VR. But being the zombies, man, I get it. For you guys, it's there. I just, maybe watching you play it may give me an extra enthusiasm. Like, I've seen you do the online thing, but
yeah, did you not like my live stream?
No, I get it. But me playing it woke something up in me. But like, seeing it, catching a bit of story, I want to be engrossed. But I'm a person. I keep saying it when it comes to games. I need to be able to feel like I'm winning. The first boss just had me like, what the fuck do I need to do? And I'm like, ugh, and it's just sat there.
Never play a Souls game ever. Ever. Never go near that franchise if that's what you're like.
Fair enough.
The thing about Resi's, much like No Country for Old Men, is that the first experience is so different to the second experience. Like that live stream, by the way, link to that above. If you're watching. No, yeah, actually, we're not doing this live. So yeah, link above. I'll put it in the metadata.
But if you're listening
go to the YouTube channel and find it. Yeah. The first time you play a Resi game, much like the first time you watch No Country for Old Men, it's scary. It's fucking scary because you literally don't know what's coming around the corner. All the bumps that happen for the first time, the tables falling over with nothing there. It's like, stop fucking with me. You know, the second time, you'll never get that the second time. The second time, now you're trying to do things like a speed run, like I did. You're trying to do things like collect a certain amount of points. It's like you've gone from being engrossed in story to being back into game mode. But the fact that a game can deliver those two very different experiences so effectively, each of them so effectively, much like No Country for Old Men, is testament to how good it is. Good.
I'm down with that. But yeah, going back to the world of film for the film fans out there and the non-video gamers, no, it's definitely a film that you do appreciate the cat and mouse. You do appreciate what this film is about. Just, you know, give it the patience. Sometimes it may feel. I felt that I was like, this film's kind of dragging, but the ending gives you a okay. I'm down with that. So definitely worth a watch. Very powerful.
I did toy with No Country for Old Men, but I was always like, does the villain win? It was kind of like, yeah, there's definitely an obvious argument to be made for why he does, but it's a very pedantic argument, but like, let's go with the Champions League thing recently, right? Most Chelsea fans would be like, we won, we're the best. I'm the humble guy going, it was more them fucking up than us. Because Pep fucked up big time, and that's what you're reading everywhere on BBC Sport, in all the papers. Everyone is like, what the fuck did he do? And we just benefited from that. So it was more them losing than us winning, if that makes sense. Don't get me wrong. I'll take the W. 2-time, motherfucker. But
it's kind of like the in a wrestling front. That time when Edge speared Cena, Paul Heyman registers the count, RVD's champ. We'll take it. Yeah. You take the W's when you can. Yeah.
So I've lost my train of thought. God damn it.
Did the villain actually win, or did the hero actually lose?
Did the villain actually win, or is it more the hero losing? Because kind of that final scene, it's Tommy Lee Jones just kind of acknowledging that, I can't keep up with the world in the way it's going. Yeah, so it's more of a kind of admission of failure than the villain being like, ha-ha.
I triumph, I get you.
And there is a clear distinction in that, which I can see we will be talking about later.
Yes. No, for sure. So that's my bottom three.
That's your bottom three, right? So over to me. Shout out to Manicaholics. And let's go in with, I have a feeling we're going to say punt here, but my number 10 is Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman, 7.
Punt.
Okay, fine. Okay, my number 9. I'd say the villain wins in this one. It kind of falls into that No Country for Old Men area of, is it more? Well, let me just get the name out first. My number 9, starring Jodie Foster and Anthony Hopkins in his Lifetime role, Silence of the Lambs.
I did toy with this one.
Here's the thing about Silence of the Lambs. Lecter's not the main villain in it.
This is where I was like,
I get it. So if you go down that road of Lecter's not the main villain, James Gumb is the main villain, Buffalo Bill as he's called in the movie, then the hero wins. But there is this running parallel, which is so fucking important to the story. Lecter's definitely established as a villain. He's a fucking cannibal, for Christ's sake. Like, he's a doctor who eats his fucking patients. Like, he a bad man.
He's locked away for a reason.
He's locked away in a maximum security place for a reason. But, that hyper intelligence that he has and his ability to understand human psychology and criminal psychology is what makes him so intrinsic to the story. So the fact that he gets away, I mean, as you said, AJ, we have to go into spoilers to discuss this list effectively. So apologies to everyone who hasn't seen Silence of the Lambs, but they get the villain who they were after, but that's kind of left the door open for the other villain who, as you read the books and know the other movies like Red Dragon and Hannibal, you realize actually, no, Buffalo Bill's not the main villain. This fucker's the main villain. It's just the way he's presented in Silence of the Lambs is kind of on the side. But in the overarching story running through all the movies, Lecter is definitely the main villain. So that's kind of the argument I'm going with. And in this version of the movie, in this current iteration of the Lecter storyline, he wins. The final line of the movie. I'm having an old friend for dinner. Ta-ta.
Do you know the other thing behind it is there is that, and there is the other part where I toyed with it and left it, right? Is essentially we said the bad guy. Lecter having the final say. Doesn't have to be the villain of the film. For instance, and obviously this isn't on either of our lists, yeah? Was it Guardians? Well, it's kind of different. But anytime you see like Thanos or Thanos saying, fine, I'll do it myself, kind of implies that, okay, one villain's gone, but another villain...
Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron. Do you get what I'm saying? So, okay, he didn't win because he didn't actually like get away with anything. He just said he's coming. So that's not exactly victory. So obviously it won't count. But the fact that Lecter has said what he said means that, okay, well, the good guy won, but only kind of, because like here we are with another villain out there and he's up to his mysteriousness. And even the way, some could even argue that mentally, the way he starts to get Clarice, you know, there are many ways you could claim a victory when it comes to Lecter. So yes, we caught the villain that we were chasing, but there is still a villain who won. So yeah, I've got time for that. I do have time for that.
Cool. So that was my number 9. Yeah, love Silence of the Lambs. Really do love
it. Great movie.
It really is. My number 8. I don't think you've seen this one yet, but my number 8, starring Jack Nicholson and Mia Farrow. I'm going with Chinatown.
Well, do you know what's really funny?
Go on.
My number 7.
Very good. Very good. So you've seen it now. It's great.
So I've seen it. I saw it because this was there, and it's one of those things. You do a research, and I saw Chinatown, and I recall you mentioning this film. I have to be honest. I have to watch it a second time. That's probably why. It's a lot to take in. On the surface, it's not. Yeah,
always the case with noir.
But it's like, well, I've got this, I got that, and this one has the twists and turns, and you know, the villain is kind of like seen, then vanishes, and then comes back, and you're like, what? And then, you know, each time you think obviously it's a noir, it's a bit of a whodunit, what's going on? You can't just be like, here's the clear villain. You can't have that in your face like that. But yeah, my God, when you hear what a monster that guy is, just. Ugh.
He's quite the director, Roman Polanski, isn't he?
He is. And did you know? I'm sure you know. He was the guy who the nose scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's vicious, that nose scene, isn't it?
Big time.
It's so nasty. Like, it doesn't go down. It wouldn't fit into our 10 goriest films ever. But I mean, it's a scene that will stick with you and go, whoa.
Ooh, yeah. You still get that. You still get the flinch. And even when you're seeing the stitches, you're like, oh man, that couldn't have been easy.
You know, on the note of nose, something I realized recently, I can handle all sorts of gore in movies. It's when you start doing stuff with the face that, and I'm not going face off here because that's stupid, but it's when they start doing things with, you know, dismembering or deforming.
Yeah.
That's really fucking upsetting for me. And there was 3 instances, one of them older and 2 very recent, which happened literally one day to the next. And they both made me squeam. And I'm not squeamish in movies. I mean, the big one is in Game of Thrones, the fucking mountain.
Yeah.
You've seen Game of Thrones, haven't you? Yeah. That fucking poor Prince Oberyn. Like, he was the best character. And he squished his head. That was so fucking hard to watch. To this day, I still have difficulty rewatching that scene. And it's worse when you know it's coming. It's like, no, fuck, not this scene. The other 2, one of them was a throwaway scene in that Castlevania series I've been telling you about recently. By the way, please fucking watch it. It's great.
No. Funny enough, we nearly jumped on it the other day. Do you know what I've actually done? And I'm enjoying it a lot more than the first time I ever tried to watch it. The Boys.
Well, it's funny you say that because The Boys is the third thing I'm about to come on. The Boys is fantastic, absolutely fantastic. But no, it's a throwaway scene in season 4 of Castlevania when the monsters are storming Dracula's castle, and one of the monsters grabs a villager by the face and literally yanks his skin off. And that just made me go, fuck that. Like, that is horrible. Bites and, you know, arms being cut off and head. That's fine. Skin being pulled off a face. I was like, no. That is all sorts of wrong. And funnily enough, the third one is from The Boys. I don't know if you've met her yet, Kumiko, the silent.
No, I'm not that far yet. I'm not that far.
Badass scene in season 2 where she literally goes full beast mode and she grabs a guy by the neck and pulls the skin off his face off again. And I'm like, that's even worse. Because the monster at least had teeth. You're just using your hand.
Funny enough, though, the last episode that I just watched, I think it's episode 3 or 4 of season 1, someone's face did get destroyed.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
The landlord, yeah?
Yeah.
That's the one I've just finished watching. So, yeah. But, yeah, I'm just trying to...
Chinatown's fantastic. Yeah, going back to Chinatown, the thing about the villain in Chinatown, as you said, it's kind of the absent villain who's not there, but Chinatown, it kind of goes into Silence of the Lambs territory, where it's much more them losing.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Literally. And that closing line tells you that.
Forget it, it's Chinatown.
Yeah.
It's harrowing, isn't it? That ending is fucking harrowing. The fact that he loses so hard. It's like, God damn.
Do you know what it is? What? It's losing so hard. It's like the villain is just there. Just there. Like,
in front of your face. And you can't do shit.
Yeah.
You may as well be Eric Cartman going, nye, 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 nye.
literally. It's just that. But you know what else? That I mean, I don't want to get into it. But it's the part where you realize that the villain practically owns everyone, so you can't get. There's no point trying to get away with it. But it's that point where, guys, press the 10-second fast forward now if you don't want to hear it.
I'll put my hands up if you're watching, and when the hands go down, you can watch again. So go, AJ.
It's that part where it's the caring granddad, like trying to take away his daughter, and you know he's not just a caring granddad. You're like, you nasty git.
Hands down.
Yeah, no, I don't know. It definitely one to have to be revisited by me, but yeah.
Great film. Great fucking film. So that was.
And again, going back to what I said just previously, that like 8 and 7, like wow. I didn't think it would be there. It kind of hurt, but I was like, yeah, that's where you fall.
Bro, this list is hard. Yeah. And it's one of these lists where you talk to us on a different day, and I imagine the list would look radically different.
Yeah.
This is not one of those definitive. This isn't like most overrated actor. Number 1, Will Ferrell. Any day, anytime, any hour. Number 1, Will Ferrell. Right?
Yeah.
That's a non-mover.
It's a tough one. It is a tough one. Even my number 1, I'm like, do I really want that to be number 1? And I was like, just stick with it. So that's where we're at. Okay. So that was your number 8.
Your 7. So you're 6?
Right. Yeah, I have a feeling this is a punt. I do. I really do. From the world of Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back.
Well, the force is strong with you because that's a punt.
All good. Okay, so your number 7.
My number 7. I don't think I've brought this movie up before, ever. Not on YouTube days, pre-YouTube, the old YouTube days, not the current ones, not on our podcast, ever. I am going to bring in, it's another Roman Polanski film, funnily enough. I'm going to bring in Rosemary's Baby.
Oh, bro, do you know how many times this film came up in lists and I just did not get the chance to see it?
It's long. It's a long watch. I think it's coming in at just under 3 hours. It's a seriously long film. There's this kind of weird little corner of cult horror that happened around this time. I think another one that could have made the list was Don't Look Now, with Donald Sutherland.
Okay,
a lot of people haven't heard of that one, and a lot of kind of snobby elitist film critics say that's the best horror film ever made. I kindly disagree, but I get it. I get it, Yeah, Rosemary's Babies, it's thematically, it's fucking terrifying because it's essentially the story of a woman who gets raped by the devil.
This is
and the climax, going into spoilers here, the climax is she gives birth literally to the Antichrist. And then the cult, the cult who have arranged for her to be raped by the devil, of which her father is part, not her father, sorry, her husband is part of. Lovely man. It's insinuated throughout the film that he made deals with the devil, in exchange for him being able to rape bang his wife. He would gain some sort of, fortune, by being promoted. Exactly. So it was a quid pro quo type situation. But yeah, it's very, very... It's not a film I'm going to watch now, given that my missus is pregnant. It's definitely not one I'm watching now. Not that I'm the devil and I'm giving birth to the Antichrist.
I was gonna say, and it was consensual. But
it was completely consensual. Ask her. In her eyes, I'm a regular Jose Mourinho. I'm a special one.
Go on. Keep tooting. But
yeah, it's all thematic in this film because you never really see the devil, you know, and it's not like when you go The Conjuring and that fucking nun, you know, they don't show, there's no graphic imagery in this, in all, you know, upsetting imagery like in movies like The Conjuring. Even the Antichrist at the end, it's all off camera, it's all through acting that you get a sense of what's happening to the characters. The film is a slow burn. If you're expecting big scares, wrong film. But if you can get into the movie and kind of get into the character's skin and embrace what's going on with them, you know, on a thematic level, because that's all you're being fucking given, then it's really upsetting. You know, the idea of a woman being raped and then giving birth to the fucking son of the devil, 666, and then the movie just ends and it's like, she got fucked. Literally.
Wow. Interesting. No, it was on my list. It was on my list of stuff to see because it was just like everywhere, like Rosemary's Baby.
Yeah. It's a slow burn. It's a very slow burn, but it's good.
Do you know what I always think, right? And I could be wrong. It helps to know you're in for a slow burn in order to appreciate a film.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I think, so, like, again, No Country for Old Men, second time around, you appreciate it a lot more because you kind of watch different films, you get different, especially when you're doing back-to-back on films. You're like, okay, you're like, whoa, this one slowed down again. We're in fifth, now we're suddenly in second or first. But yeah, no. I'm interested, and thank you for the heads up on knowing it's a slow burn.
All good. So that was my 6, I believe. Am I going mad? No, that was my 7. That was my 7. Sorry. So my 6, I imagine we're going to say punt here, surely. I'm only putting it at 6, not because I don't rate it, but just because I bring this movie up. Might be a bit too much. But my number 6, Usual Suspects.
So my number 5 was Usual Suspects. So God, there we go. Spotify just flying up and down there. Yes. So a couple of weeks ago, I was in the middle of finishing the film, and I got the chance to finish it this time. So yes, it's all kinds of awesome. You didn't fail to deliver on that one, bro. If it wasn't for my passion for the films that follow and the interest that peaked in another film that I saw recently, this would be higher. You know, it's a very good film. It's all the small pinpoints of I missed that. You got me there, or I caught that bit. You know, the little bits that you're like, oh, well done. It was a bit annoying because, again, sometimes when you know the villain's going to win, you kind of essentially the same with like why we punted earlier on Empire Strikes Back. Like initial reaction will tell you one thing, whereas when you kind of know, you're like, okay, well, I know who's going to be the grand reveal, but it doesn't hurt to see the story unfold at the same time.
The Usual Suspects is one of those films. It's a lot like Donnie Darko in terms of piecing together. It is so infinitely rewatchable, and every single time you rewatch it, I mean this, that maybe I'm just speaking for myself, but I think this is general consensus. You pick something new up each time, whether it be the golden lighter that's in the beginning and end scene, whether it be there's one little throwaway scene where you see him just doing a little flick of the wrist that gives it, you know, that gives away the final uncurling of the hand.
Yeah.
There's the way he tilts his head sometimes. There's a certain way that he walks. There's a certain line that he delivers. There's all of these little tiny details that you don't pick up on the first, second, or even third time. It's so well made, this film. It is so fucking well made.
No. I will be, you know, I mean, as I said, now that I knew it, and I will, it's one of those things, especially because you keep saying it, it's something I do want to toy with to see like, oh, did I miss this? Did I miss that? Because each time you have brought it up, it's that. So just for anyone who's not familiar with the story, Usual Suspects are about a group of villains all working for an unknown leader by the name of Kaiser Sose. And they're all being interrogated by the police, and it's a matter of trying to figure out who is Kaiser Sose. And
he's the guy that John Wick is afraid of.
Yeah, he is an evil guy. When you hear, like, you know, exactly, John Wick is essentially the guy who you go to kill the boogeyman, right? This is a guy who will kill his family to get to the villain, and you're like, ooh, Like, you done what? Okay, yeah, that's when I was like, okay, like you stop at nothing, right? You stop at nothing. So that gives him his props. That gives him his props. So. With that, we kind of left it without exactly unfolding who was. If you paid attention enough, you would have heard who was. But we done that as spoiler-free as possible.
But you know, there's still corners of the internet that argue that Kaiser Soze isn't who the movie says it is. There's some. This is the thing I love about The Usual Suspects. I can't think of another movie that has invited so much fan theory and speculation. Like, there is hours upon hours of entertaining video essays on YouTube that break down different things and different ways the camera works to highlight certain things, and different ways that one line is delivered to one character and that same line is delivered differently to another character. Like, there's a level of detail that film fans have gone into on this film that it's so fucking entertaining. Like, oh, it's the police guy, he's Kaiser Soze, and you look like, what? And then they break it down. It's like, huh.
You know, the only other film I know, and it's one that we brought up before, we keep bringing up, that has that the big debate is well, there's The Italian Job, naturally. Do they get away with it? Do they don't?
No.
So I'm just saying, Italian Job has its debate, Lock, Stock has its debate, and Inception. Inception is the main one I was thinking of.
Inception
doesn't stop spinning. You know?
Yes.
But you know, The Italian Job is more maybe than Thelma and Louise, which some people still debate, and I don't know how.
They died. You disagree? GTA 5 has the answer for you.
Indeed it does. Indeed it does. But yeah, okay, so that was your number 6 and my number 5, right? And we punted on my previous number 6, so back over to me. I don't know.
Whoa. Did we not go with your number 6 yet?
My number 6 was punted.
Your number 6 was punted, so I've just done my 6 and your 5, so it's my 5.
Exactly, my bad. All right.
So my 5 is, I know that you like the villain in this one a lot, because my 5, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
I toyed with this, and then I came with the fact of, is he necessarily the villain?
Cobra?
Hold on, which one? I always get this.
Rise is the first, Dawn is the second.
Right.
We've always said this, like they've named the movies wrong.
This is why I keep getting thrown off, because I'm even looking at the poster. I'm like, that's the second movie.
Yeah. Second movie. Yeah, Cobra dies, but Cobra wins. This is beyond fucking doubt. Cobra fucks them. Like,
Cobra.
I know you and your brother have the joke.
Yes, yeah. Like, anyone who's a false leader is Cobra. Like that's just how you get established in this world. Like, but you are so right. Like, it's very similar to my number 1 in that sense of your victory doesn't necessarily have to be you, but your impact on the world. Yeah. And in this world, in the world of apes, like, his influence reigns hard. Like, it's not to be. The world is a different place based on that one. Yeah.
And you still, despite my lack of enjoyment for the third movie, which I'm on the fence about whether I need to rewatch it again or not, because the first time I watched Dawn, I wasn't the biggest fan of it. Then I watched Dawn again and I was like, this is fucking good. It's a bit like Mad Max Fury Road problem. The first time I watched it, I was like, this is a big CGI fest. Second time I rewatched it, I was like, this is cocaine bubblegum. You know, I might need to rewatch Rise.
I do feel right. War,
sorry, not Rise. I adore Rise. The first one for me is the best one by 100%. Far. Dawn I do love though, and yeah, Cobra. There is no doubt, as I said, that despite the fact that Caesar drops him to his death, the impact of Cobra starting that civil war, that's what creates the war, essentially. You know that Caesar was trying to be all peaceful and be like, humans are there, we're here, we good. Cobra was like, no.
Yeah. It's a weird one. Because yes, he does die.
But you sympathize with him. You still sympathize with him. Cobra's a bit like fucking Rocket Raccoon. He's been.
I don't know if I ever did sympathize with Cobra,
bro. He's been fucked around, experimented on, tortured. Remember how nasty they were to him in the first movie?
Yeah.
He's an animal. Ultimately, they're animals that have been made. They're intelligent animals, granted, but they've been given hyper intelligence, and they've been humanized essentially.
That is the thing.
As an animal, what humans did to Cobra is fucking unforgivable. Like the anger he has inside him is understandable.
Experience will determine a lot of things. It's like going to school. You either loved your school days or you hated your school days. And Caesar and Cobra have two very different relationships on that. Caesar has seen the good in humanity, whereas Cobra saw the evil. So
Cobra's never seen the good. He didn't have a Jane Franco,
Where Caesar can excuse certain bits because he knows there's another side to them. Cobra only knows the evil, so can't excuse it.
And he doesn't trust them.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, he's a great villain, because despite how fucking far on the spectrum of evil he goes, if you keep in your mind what this poor primate has been through, you're always like, I don't agree, but I get it.
Do you know what? As you say that, it's those lines where he's like, man, and he shows, yeah. It's there. Are you getting
not about human care?
Yeah, human, yeah.
Human care. Yeah.
That was.
Yeah. Like, that's what I mean. You get him. I don't agree, but I get him.
Yeah. No, well played.
Yeah, that was my 5. Your 4?
Well played. Yeah, you got me. Yeah. So I'm just looking back at that one. That was interesting. Well played. Number 4, I've only seen recently based on research. I don't know if you would have heard or seen of it. It's a Dutch movie. Spoorloos is the Dutch name. I'd apologize if I've absolutely butchered that. But it's called The Vanishing.
I've heard of this. This is what Nolan based Insomnia on, isn't it?
I don't know. I know that the director tried to remake a film. It's weird, and I'll tell you why I tell you it's weird. Because Insomnia, it's funny. The guy took a Polaroid picture and wrote something on it, and I was like, that reminded me of Insomnia. But aside from that,
you're mixing it up with Memento.
Memento, sorry, Insomnia. I don't think it was. Insomnia.
I've just got this feeling that The Vanishing has been remade by Nolan in some capacity. Anyway,
so this story is about a couple who are leaving Holland or the Netherlands at some point. I shouldn't directly quote it as Holland, and they're going on a trip. And I do believe they go into France because there was a lot of like French speaking. Well, they start talking French.
Could be Belgium.
No, but it could be actually. It could be, but I do believe they're in France. But anyway. They're on this road trip, and the first thing that you get is that the car breaks down in the tunnel. All right, and this car is kind of old, so he can't put the emergency lights on, and his partner is very pissed off with him. Like, I told you to fill up. I told you should have taken a tank. And he's like, whatever. And she's like, don't leave me. She's looking in the back of their car for a flashlight. She's looking for the flashlight, and he's just going off because he's like, yes, I know. It's the usual when a man knows he's done wrong and a woman can't help but say, I told you so. It's that one where we all kind of play the macho, and she's like, don't leave. Sorry, Barry, I said. Yeah, so it's that kind of thing. Oh, apologies again. So he's walking off to go and get petrol. As he comes back with the petrol fuel, I'll call it, just in case it's not petrol, it's diesel, it's unleaded, whatever. As he comes back with the fuel for the vehicle, you don't see the missus, and you're like, oh shit, what's happened? Then you find out she's on the other side of the tunnel because she was a bit scared and she went out for safety. So he fills up the tank, they keep driving, and they go to, those layaway station off the motorway. So they park up. And he's apologized to her. He's like, I love you. When I walked away, as much as I'd done that, I realized how much you really meant to me. It gets a bit soppy, and they're mucking about and what have you. And he makes a vow. She makes him vow to him that he will never not look after her again, kind of thing. Right? That's what happens. At the same time, we see this guy also pull up. But what's weird about this guy is he pulls up, and then he puts a cast on his hand. And then you see him with a small bottle, and he puts that beneath the car. And you're like, what are you up to? Then he puts it in a sling. And then you see him looking at the partner. So she goes to fill it. He fills up the petrol. She goes to get something. She goes toilet. And you can see him looking at her and they move on. Cool. Sorry, that's what after she goes toilet, comes back, they make the vow. She then goes, okay, let's go. She goes to buy him a beer and herself a Coke. And he's waiting. And then he realizes she's gone. She's gone, vanished. Obviously, this film was released in 1988. There are no CCTV to figure out where she was. So he's asking the petrol station manager. He's asking the cashier. He's asking people because he's got a Polaroid of her. Have you seen this woman? Like, where is she? Like, this is my wife or my girlfriend. Like, where is she? What the hell's happened? You can't find it. They cannot find it. Fast forward 2 to 3 years, he still can't find her. He's in a new relationship. Wow. But he still can't find her. He doesn't know what's happened. We kind of assume she's dead, but he's not given up and he just wants to know what happened. Then we start finding out that every so often he gets an invite from the kidnapper saying, if you would like to find out what happened to your partner, come to this cafe. He keeps going to that cafe, never turns up. We then find out that the same guy with the cast and what have you.
This film has definitely been remade. I think they did some sort of wanky version with Josh Hartnett.
It could be, bro. There was one. I heard there was a remake that just did not get the feedback. So he keeps going there, and then we find out that the kidnapper lives across the road from this cafe. And then eventually he starts to make contact with the guy, and then we start to find out we realize the method behind the villain. I don't want to give away a spoiler, but he found out that he's done good and he's realized the experience behind that. Now he wants to realize if you can feel equally as good by doing bad. So he's now committed this evil crime. And now the partner who's been looking for his girlfriend for the absolute longest while wants to find out what exactly happened. Mm-hmm. I will leave the ending to be a bit open-ended just in case you don't know. But it's a very interesting film. And it had a foreign twist to it as well, which was interesting. So I was taken in by it.
Interesting.
The Vanishing.
Okay.
The Vanishing. Trust me, it's a decent film. Very good film.
Nice. It sounds good. Sounds really good.
Yeah.
Right. My number 4 then. Can't believe this is a moment. This is a big moment. We don't really bring these movies up. I did say I rewatched them and I had a change of heart. It's not the one you're going to think, though. My number 4, with Al Pacino, The Godfather Part 3.
Wow. Wow. I do remember hearing I don't care for that one. I know you got onto 1 and 2, but I didn't know that 3 would have made it.
3, I don't understand the hate for it.
Is it vice versa then? Is it that 3 is the one that you don't understand? Yeah, I knew there was something with 3 that you were quite sympathetic or quite
completely
to.
Absolutely. I watched all 3 of these movies back to back because we've been on podcasts so many times, and we've both said, do not care for The Godfather. Do not care for The Godfather. Best film of all time. Wah, whatever. Part 1 I really love. Really, really love. Most notably because Marlon Brando is so fucking good. He's just next level. Part 2, despite the fact that a lot of people are like, that's the one. I'm like, nah, I don't see it that way. 1 is the best. 1 is categorically the best. 2 is an incomplete fucking movie, man. Because without 3, 2 doesn't have any validity for me. I'm going to have to spoil both here just to make a case for myself.
It's a spoiler episode. I'm sure I can live with it.
There are moments in 2 which are fantastic. Like, you know, the big part is when Michael realizes that his brother Fredo has betrayed him and he has that breakdown. But Michael's the Don at this point. You don't cross the Don, right? And, you know, the culmination of number 2 is him whacking Fredo. But then the movie ends. Now, I can tell you real talk. It's fucking unsatisfying. Because what are you trying to tell me? It's like, what, Michael is now true evil? It's like, we got that in 1. We got that in 1 when he decided to go on a fucking killing spree of everyone who tried to off his father. Yes, it was fucking validated because they tried to kill his father. But let's be under no impression. His father was not a good man. Don Corleone. He was not a good man, right? And they showed the levels of how he's not. Like all these great villains, like Cobra, like all of them, there's always a reason for how they've ended up how they are. There's always this undercurrent theme of, mankind is not inherently born bad. We become bad, right? Don't know what the fuck happened to Adolf. Mummy didn't hug him enough. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe he was a skinny guy fucking body pressing in the gym and saw this big Jewish bodybuilder and went 9. I don't fucking know, man. I don't fucking know. But yeah, I'm a believer that we're not all born bad. So, the second movie shows how Don Corleone, proper Don Corleone, not Don Michael Corleone, but Don Vito Corleone, gets to be where he is and how he ends up being the person he is in number 1. Running parallel to that story in number 2 is Michael's story of how he's assumed the role of Don. So you've got kind of the makings of the old Don and kind of the fallout of the new Don, right? But the movie, it's kind of like, let me relate it to this. The Aviator, that DiCaprio Scorsese movie, it ends just as it gets interesting. That's always been my beef with it. Godfather 2 is guilty of the same thing. It ends just as it starts to get really interesting. Now, don't get me wrong. Everything that's happened to Michael and, the fact that people are after him, that's all very interesting. Don't get me wrong. The fact that he's trying to continue his father's legacy, that's all fascinating, of course. But it's when he makes that, the toughest call he has to make, which, because the rule is you don't fucking go after the Don, right? And his fucking brother goes after him. But then conversely, the rule in the family is, you keep your family close. So he's now got this dichotomy of, well, he tried to whack me, but he's family. And he's kind of a simple-minded idiot. And it wasn't really him trying to whack me. It was more he got tricked into helping the person who whacked me try to whack me because he's a simple idiot. He didn't actually carry out the fucking crime. He's just too fucking stupid to realize what happened. So despite the fact that it wasn't directly Fredo who was trying to whack him, it was a moment of stupidity on Fredo's part. Michael still makes the final call of he's got to die, right? And the second movie just ends there. And it's like, I want to see the fallout of this. And that you get in number 3. You get that in number 3. You get to see Michael in his old age. You get to see what that damage of killing his own family has done to him. You get to see the separation from his wife and children. You get to see, this is what I found. People shat on Sofia Coppola for this movie because she's in this, I believe, playing his daughter. If it's been a few months now since I've seen it. I'm pretty sure it's his fucking daughter. Daughter or niece, either way. And people, they scapegoat the fuck out of her. Like, the criticism leveled at Sofia Coppola, it's like, let's pick on the woman. It's like, there was one scene where she has to hold a scene alone with Al Pacino. That was a directing mistake because she's still fucking green at this point, Coppola, and she did not have the chops to hold a scene alone with Pacino. But the scenes when it's a lot of them together, I see no issue. I really don't see what the beef that people have with Sofia Coppola's performance is. That one scene, weak, but not a film destroyer. But this universal, like, fuck The Godfather Part 3, that film's a piece of shit. It's not. The film's really good. The film actually, without number 3, 2 doesn't have the fucking, the gravitas that it does. Because 2 just ends. It's like, well, he killed his brother. No fallout. Here's the fallout.
I like
and
that.
The fallout is so costly that it blurs his vision. Here comes the spoiler warning. And it ultimately leads to Sofia Coppola being killed. Hence, the villain wins. Because he loses his family. That thing he was trying to rebuild, gone.
Interesting.
And it humanizes him. And that final scene of Godfather Part 3 with that legendary soundtrack, that final scene of him growing old with age. And that's what's so hard, I think, so brilliant about this movie is that you think with all the evil that this guy's done, someone's going to get him eventually. No. He dies of old age, which by proxy means, here's the powerful side of it, which by proxy means he's got to live with all the evil that he did. He doesn't get an easy way out. He's got to live through his old years and suffer that guilt, that shame of taking so much human life, including that of his family. And the way Pacino plays this so fucking well. It is honestly, it's a big thing, isn't it? It's very hard to act death because no one knows how to do it, essentially. You know, unless you're very unlucky to have seen someone you're close to die in front of you, you've got no frame of reference of how someone dies, right? Yeah. They're one moment they're alive, you see them next day, they're dead. That's usually how it goes, sad as that is. Pacino plays this so fucking well. Like, it is one of the best, not best, believable ways of delivering a life, leaving a human being. You know, the body goes limp and he kind of just slowly falls out of his chair. It's not overacted. It's not ham-fisted. It's poetic. I cannot get my head around the hate for this film. I do not get it. Without this film, 2 is a fucking average movie at best. This film makes 2 good.
Do you know, as you bring up this point, and it's a spoiler, is Tom Hanks in your list at all? Mm-mm. You know, I did toy with the Green Mile as because essentially he's not the bad guy until he. Put it this way: the closing lines are very similar to what you just said there.
Oh yeah.
He has to live with the guilt of what he's done, and that's where I'm like, okay, he didn't directly. Before, the police could have been seen as the bad guys because they killed him, but Tom Hanks being the one of the few good guys that were there, it's a blur. That's why I didn't go with it.
I see the link you're making, and I get it. My answer would be same, but different.
Yeah. No, I get
Michael is voluntarily choosing.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks is caught between, well, I've got to explain to people that here's a miracle from God that I can't kill versus I've got to do my job. Which is this guy murdered 2 children, was found guilty in a court of law, electric chair. But I can't because he's a miracle. Huh? People aren't going to believe it.
He never figured out. He didn't figure out that he didn't kill the kids, or did he?
He did.
Blood.
He did. And how does he prove it? He figured it out through John Coffey showing him what actually happened.
Yeah.
There's no evidence to support it. All they have is a group of simple-minded country bumpkins who have chased down a very, 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 very large black man and found 2 little girls with their heads crushed in his hands.
Yeah.
Evidence!
All points the other way.
Yeah.
This is true.
So I get what you mean. It's like but Tom Hanks, considering he does know, much like Michael Corleone, has got to live knowing that he committed, you know, he killed a miracle.
Yeah.
It's same, but I think Godfather Part 3 is really good, and I'll challenge anyone in the comment section or on Twitter who wants to say, please not on Twitter, actually, just because I found out from arguing with a few people on Twitter this week, 140 characters does not lend itself well to articulate debate.
Do you know, once upon a time, they used to have a thing called tweet longer. It kind of defied the whole purpose of Twitter, but it was needed for these kind of situations. I miss Tweet Longer. Tweet Longer, some people do it in a picture, but it doesn't obviously relate enough for a debate. I get it. Yeah, I get it. Comments below. Yeah. And if you are listed on any of the podcast platforms not at Movie MT Rushmore, YouTube Silver Screen Dudes, hell, even Instagram at Silver Screen Dudes, either way, we'll pick it up. Right. Okay. In at number 3 for me, I toyed with where this was. It was low, then it was high. It was number 1, then it went back down. Dun 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 dun. Dun. Avengers: Infinity War.
Do you want me to make you laugh?
Go.
It's also my number 3.
The snap heard around the world. The snap felt around the world, should I say.
Man, this film's good.
Bro, I tell you. No film. I maybe you've had it with other people, but no film has had such a level of conversation as this film has post ending. Like, we punted on it earlier. Maybe that worked for people when they saw it in the cinemas. We'll come up to it when it comes up. But I just remember film finishing, drop the birthday boy off, coincidentally, to his parents, go for a meal, jump on the tube, record the reaction to the film, and the whole time we're still like, but and if that and that. And I think even the next day there were still fan theories going on in WhatsApp groups over, but how did you? What did that snap exactly mean? How did you kill X, Y, and Z? And obviously, you know, I've done it many times, and this is a spoiler. You killed Spider-Man. Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good.
I remember being in that cinema with you, man, and you could hear a pin drop. The whole cinema just went, what? No, not the kid.
But the thing is, it's not the kid. And it's like, what, 2 films before? We celebrated, the whole world celebrated that Spider-Man is finally in Marvel. He's going to join the Avengers. And you've done what? Huh? No. Like, you're watching everybody else. And I mean, R.I.P. Chadwick, but it's like, Black Panther's gone, this one's gone, that one's gone. And you're like, this is deep. Then you're like, no, stop it, man. Stop. Like, you've toyed with me, but not Spider-Man. Would you? Who? What? No, of course you can't kill Spider-Man. And then it's like he's gone, and it's just there, and you're like, no, like it, yeah. Yeah,
but do you remember how much I was actually screaming in happiness because that was the ending that we needed? Remember, we were all debating, and there was like, no, Thanos isn't going to win. I was like, this movie needs to end with everyone fucked. I said this. I said 2 things in Infinity War before seeing the movie that I absolutely nailed. I'm like, kill the Hulk and kill everyone at the end.
Yeah. That was that. There were 3. Yeah, there was that. And I always remember that, the build up, because at the time that this film was out, I can't remember the year, but like the 14-year-old was obviously younger than 14 who says, if the Hulk dies, I'm walking out. And I'm like, no, you're not, little boy. But please don't try to walk out because I'm going to miss this film. And especially when it was the first 5 minutes of the film. I'm like, don't do this. Don't do this to me. I've just paid.
I remember elbowing you like, it's happening.
Followed by a kid. And you can see the heartbreak of the kid. Like, the Hulk's my favorite. And you're like, no, don't do this. Don't do this. I mean, But, you know, I mean, if you think of it, the heartbreak even starts at the beginning because we've just had the fun of Ragnarok and we're just seeing Loki getting murked. And you're like, no, man, like everything. There's that. And I also remember, not that we glorify violence, but hey, we're talking an action movie. Do you remember the gentleman with his camera phone? And you getting slightly irked with it? Yeah.
Slightly? So let's put some context in here. Yeah. All right? Let's put some context to this. A little bit of backstory for the Silver Screen dudes.
Huh?
Friends, not necessarily out of choice, but by circumstance, I'm the token. I am the token white guy. Yeah. All right? I happen to walk around, and it's not for fucking street cred. It's because I've grown up with AJ as my best fucking friend. All right? It's just circumstance, right? And I'm walking around with a large group of large brothers. That's the first thing. That's the first point. The second point is, I may not look like it with these fucking flowing blonde hair. Your boy used to be a pro fighter, a very proficient pro fighter. 10 years, fought in many different places around the world, have fought for titles, have broken most bones in my body, have fucked motherfuckers up, all right? So even me alone, I can throw. Me
Trained
and my brother.
John Jones.
Huh?
Trained with John Jones.
John Jones trained with me, motherfucker.
That's what I'm doing. Training
it's on my Instagram. I'm not even lying. That's not a lie, by the way. You can check me on Instagram, Nico Liro. I knew John Jones pre-fame. Before he was a UFC household name, he was training out with me at my camp. When I was the fucking big deal locally. Never achieved John Jones' level of stardom, ever. Would never proclaim to, though he did call me a few weeks ago for a catch-up. Just putting that one out there too. Fact, not fiction. Yeah. Most of us can throw. I got my brothers and I got me. And this motherfucker in the cinema. And unfortunately, when you're walking around with a large group of black men and you also happen to be able to handle yourself, you have that outer ego confidence flowing through you. It's like, I will tell you what's what, and I don't really have much fear in me, right? Now, all of these bumberclats around the world when Infinity War came up, this is why the bad thing about social media is, right? Because all of these next level fuckheads decided, oh, I'm going to go to the first screening and I'm going to record the final scene and ruin it for people. Or you got these dickheads who have their phone on fucking maximum brightness. They haven't even put it on fucking put the brightness down. And they've got it up here, fucking in front of everyone's faces in the rows behind them, filming, going, oh, look, live in the cinema. I'm tweet. And this guy, right, I was like, I'm going to allow it for the first few minutes because, you know, you want to fucking record the title opening, right? It's like Avengers Infinity War. Cool, man. Do your Instagram story. This motherfucker kept rolling. And I was like, you're going to pull a fucking fisheye and your dick out at the same time here, my friend. And I said to him, when the cinema was quiet, everyone you could see in that vicinity was flustered by him. There was a general like, oh, this motherfucker. And the phone was bright, bro. It was bright. And you'll back me up here, AJ. I said to this motherfucker out loud, and the whole cinema heard me, put your fucking phone away or I'll put it away for you. And the guy was like, fucking shook. And then you know, the funniest thing was at the end, when the fucking lights came back on in the cinema and he turned around and gave me a look and I sort of looked down at him and went, yeah, what? What, motherfucker?
Remember he started giving it that talk.
He was like, ah. Fuck off.
He gave me that kind of talk.
I didn't do anything wrong. You're the fool, not me. You fucked up recording in the cinema.
It was quite funny because it was that point where he kind of gave it try and do that. Let's meet outside. And then you were like, let's do it. And at the same time, he also saw me and my brother like push up. That push up from a chair of, oh, we're going outside. To which he just vanished. To this moment, we're still waiting for this man. We've circled Fulham Broadway. He's to be found. Wherever you are, we're more than welcome to meet you. Again, not condoning violence, but hey. But yeah, no. But no.
But then he tried pulling out that long line. Oh, there's kids here. Okay, then more reason to show a good example, you next level fuckwit. Also, the fact that you're not full of the white, you were racist.
Yeah, he was all kind of.
You were racist.
He was all kind of twatish. But back to the film itself. The bad guy definitely won.
Good.
Definitely won this one, and he won it in in a click of a finger. And my God, did the world feel it?
That fucking line should have gone for the head. Oh, such a fuck you! It's so good. It's so good.
But again, the range of emotion is that you come in and this is like Thor on a quest for vengeance. Like he always said it, like he's killed my brother at the top and he wanted this guy. And he came in and it was should have gone for the head. You're like, what? And that was it. But from that moment, you know, that level of excitement just went like that was the ultimate roller coaster ride. Like, well done. Well done.
Oh, goddamn good. And I mean, Endgame is still to this day one of the best cinema experiences I've ever had.
Yeah,
that crowd we were with was so good. Like,
I've never been more squadded to the cinema, and I honestly don't regret it. It was I shout out to Annika. I remember us the day before because we had the code from our previous employer that gave us discounts to the tickets, and we were trying to do it, and then we went down, and we were like, yeah, we need like X amount of tickets. I think it was like anything like. Was it 20 tickets or something? It was ridiculous amount of tickets. And poor guy, that flipping Odeon who had to print all those tickets, man. But we were there and did we enjoy it? Did we
printing money? What poor guy? That's Marvel.
No, bro. This one, right? One, he's the cashier, not the owner of the thing. But two, there was like an 8-digit code that the poor guy had to type in for each ticket.
Oh, okay, no, I take it back.
It was not easy. It was not easy, but yeah, that was it. That was a moment. That was a moment. Yes. So a joint number 3. Okay, cool. So in at number 2 was the punt from earlier. I'm actually going to use your image because it looks nicer than mine. That was mine. Yours is nice and wider. So we are talking Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman, 7. I was all over the place with this. At one point, you know, one of the things with 7 was actually my number 7. I was like, oh, they're going to say it's a joke. And 7 at 7. And I was like, toying with it. It nearly went lower. It nearly went higher. Then before I knew it was my number 2. Like, I have a lot of respect for this film. I always remember one of the first podcasts that we really discussed Seven and that debate. And I think that has always made me appreciate Seven that bit more. When we talked about, the value and the purpose behind how the villain wins. I always remember that discussion. I believe it was the original location we recorded podcast, that is, your old flat. And it was just like big. And the madness behind it. You've got a killer who ultimately believes he's doing good, because what is he doing? He's following the Bible. He is eliminating those who are committing the 7 deadly sins. And it's like, there we are. And yes, just when you think it's all there, you have to ask, what's in the box?
Oh,
I always remember that's the one thing about Seven that a lot of people couldn't read, but I could. I read the end. I knew the ending. I
really?
could see it coming. Like, oh yeah, I remember that. I was like, oh, you didn't. Oh God, please, no. I couldn't figure out what part of, but I was like, it's no. Oh God, you didn't. Yeah, that was all kinds of deep. What's in the box? You can feel the heartbreak. You can feel the heartbreak in it, and that's the point of it. It's like you don't want to see that. You don't. Yeah.
Do you know everyone raves about Brad Pitt in that scene? I think Morgan Freeman steals the show in that scene. It's when he's the one who opens the box and that look of fuck on his face, and he goes, "John Doe's got the advantage. John Doe's got the advantage. Stand down."
Yeah. That's the whole thing. I mean, each man plays his part, because Morgan Freeman is the one who can keep a cool head. John Doe knows he's won. Brad Pitt is a bit like Crash. It's that point of you can see when the good guy goes bad. You can see it, and you can ultimately put it this way: the bad guy still remains the bad guy, but also there's a good guy who's become bad. And when you want to relate to the villain, the good guy who's now become the villain, you're like, I get it. I would have done the same. I would have done the same. And that's the power behind that film. Like, yeah, Seven, as much as the villain isn't my favorite actor. Yeah.
There's this big part of me that thinks I've done it a massive injustice putting it that low, but I've brought it up.
It's been talked about enough.
Especially recently, I've brought it up a lot.
This is the thing. It was only 2 episodes ago it came up again with you. So it's one of those things, and that's the thing. Even like No Country for Old Men, Chinatown, somebody, Usual Suspects, even is like, it was only just up the other day. Even my number 6, I was like, if there isn't a film that's been brought up enough times, I nearly excluded it from the freaking list. But can you exclude that film from the list? No, like it is what it is. It's like, could you imagine doing this and then no Infinity War and no flipping Empire? What? Come again? Well, why even do the list? It could have been an interesting vote, but hey, they need
hold that fire. I'm going to propose something to you for the Rushmore, but
yeah, I'm down with that. I think I know where you're going, but hey, okay. So that was my number 2. Your number 2, sir.
My 2. Why so serious? Because I'm going with The Dark Knight.
Interesting.
Had to bring it in. Now, Batman catches the Joker. Batman saves Gordon's family. How does the villain win? Harvey.
Bro, yeah, exactly. Remember that the hero also made himself essentially a villain in it as well. Like,
in order to protect Dent's reputation.
Yeah, exactly.
So in that one move, and I still maintain it wasn't a good move on Batman's part, because if you think about it, Gotham's double fucked by that. Dent becomes a villain thanks to the Joker corrupting him. That's a hard pill to swallow. Now you've also lost your Dark Knight.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it was bad script writing. I completely get the Batman's thing.
No, but it's a judgment call, isn't it? What judgment? Yeah. Which way would you have got, without doing a pun on Harvey Two-Face? Which side of the coin would you have gone with? It's a judgment call. It's head with head. Well,
and it does show how inherently good Batman is at his soul.
Selfless,
completely selfless, and which is why he's such a great character. He'll put himself through all sorts of trauma and harm for what he perceives to be the greater good. I'd argue that in this case, this wasn't the greater good, because you've essentially left Gotham with nothing.
Yeah. Do you know the sad thing? It sounds so cheesy, but you left them with hope. that you had a shining hero. But then in the same vein, do you know the sad thing about it is that it showed that someone was able to be corrupted, and that is where it fell short. Yeah. You know, corruption ultimately won. Even above the Joker, corruption won. Yeah. And that is it's a difficult one, because I did toy with Dark Knight, obviously being one of my all-time favorites. I was like, for the same technicality we're working on, it's like, well, the good guy won, but did he? Like, yeah,
he didn't, because it's all explained in that speech that the Joker delivers when he's hanging upside down. You know, Batman thinks at that moment, he's like, "What did you want to prove? That everyone was just like you? You're alone." And Joker's like, "Nope, I took your purest guy, and to quote him, all you need is a little push." Right? He wins. He won.
Yeah.
That's so fucking good. It's so good. It's
every now and again we are blessed with greatness, and that was one of them. You know, honestly,
it really is. Like, that film's not going to age. It's just not.
No, I don't think it can or will. It's no. If in an era that you can go back and watch a Keaton movie and appreciate it, this definitely can't age. Definitely can't.
Most definitely. I agree with that big time. Yeah. All right. Just for the sake of time, what is your worst?
Where is my worst button? Oh, did I not upload it?
I didn't see it.
Guess what? It's the same as yours.
Oh, very good.
Revenge of the Sith. Like,
Revenge of the shit.
Like, we butchered it the last time, so I don't really need to go down that
Chris Trengrove, you're fucking wrong. You're just wrong.
I wasn't even Chris. It was the
no, you fucking gave me a whole thing again this week about how Revenge of the Sith is a better movie than Solo. It's better than The Force Awakens. It's better than The Last Jedi. And I was like, dude, just no.
I always say this to people, and I think it helps to not be trapped by the Force. I appreciate the Force. I'm not trapped by the Force, right? I always said it. I even kind of lean Sith way. But
oh, hell yeah. Fuck yeah. Go for the fucking win, boy. Hell yeah.
I steamrolled these to kick off and get ready for Force Awakens. That was the film that really irked me. Even despite Jar Jar Binks, and I went to see episode 1 the first time.
But Jar Jar's not even in this one. Like,
no. I'm just talking the general movies. Like, when you talk, like, build up to, you know, I've done them all. I've done 6 movies to see one, and I was like, that was the one that stuck out as annoying to me. It just couldn't. It didn't have redeeming factors. It just didn't have any redeeming factors. I'm sorry.
Nothing. Maybe the CGI in that opening scene, that opening 10 minutes when they're in their. I think they're primitive A-wing, and it's almost like a roller coaster ride, and they're going between all of the ships just above Coruscant and chasing General Grievous. That was like a roller coaster, and it was a real like, whoa, okay, that's pretty fucking cool that you can do that now. But just, you know, people talk about, you know, we heard it 2 weeks ago, that the assassination of Luke Skywalker. Man, in a game of poker, I will see your assassination of Skywalker and raise you the assassination of Anakin. And guess what? I just got a royal flush here. I win in that fucking hand.
Yeah. No,
keep your full house, motherfucker. Because honestly, this is the greatest film villain ever. People who haven't seen Star Wars know who Vader is. People know the iconicity of him, the shape of him, the red saber, the everything about this character is known to the fucking world. He permeates everywhere. Games, paintings, music, fucking any form of pop culture, even beyond the geekdom. He's relevant because he is the atypical villain. Darth Vader, Dark Father, the father who has wronged his child. Like, he is the most iconic villain of all time. And you're going to tell me that what turns him? Unlimited power! Fuck off.
Don't forget the fingers.
Oh, just no. Just no. And people try to defend this. People try. Even Youssef, bless him, Ozopsy on YouTube, who's been commenting recently. When I said to him, "Well, what about that? I have the higher ground, Anakin." He tried. Bless you, Youssef. He tried to argue that Obi-Wan did it as one of his moves in the Phantom Menace, and it was something that Anakin thought he could do. But it's like, but man, no, you're going into deep canon here. That force jump is something that was signature to Obi-Wan. You're correct, but it's deep canon that. To your average Star Wars fan, arguing that is like arguing Gone Girl with me. It's like, oh, but there's a lot. It's a great film because of what happened in the book. It's like, well, forgive me, for the guy who's only seen the movie, what was presented to me was a dog's dinner, all right? This film, yes, Youssef, you are right. The force jump is something that is synonymous with Obi-Wan in deep Star Wars canon. Like, you've got to go beyond gaming here, right? In the movie, the force jump is something that all Jedi Masters can do. All of them. It's not something special. Qui-Gon could do it. Yoda could fucking do it. Like, it's not a synonymous with Obi-Wan move. So, bless you trying to argue that Anakin was trying to do what his master did. I like the poetic take on it. No. Just, I have the higher ground. Fucking unlimited power. The fact that you don't see him doing the evil. The fact that the first line, the name is uttered. It's almost with hesitation. Henceforth, you shall be known as Darth Vader. It's like 40 years. 40 years I waited to see the moment that the wonderful Anakin Skywalker, at least as he was presented to us in the original trilogy, turns to the dark side. This is it. And honestly, some of the worst dialogue ever put to screen. I say it every time we talk about this film, and I'm going to say it again now. Anakin, I want to raise our child on Naboo. You're so beautiful. No, that's because I'm in love with you. No, no, it's because I'm in love with you. So love has blinded you. What the fuck does that mean? You're so beautiful, that's because I'm in love with you. Die. Just die. I'm going to bring in Jar Jar Binks here to talk about that fucking dialogue. Piusa! It is terrible.
It just doesn't run.
At no point in The Last Jedi, everyone's favorite movie to hate on, at no point in The Last Jedi did we ever get lines of dialogue that are that bad. Ever. There were some fucking story beats that were inconsistent, and there was a serious lack of logic, no doubt. But you want to talk about lack of logic? The scene on Mustafar that kicks off the fight between Anakin and Obi-Wan. Like, fucking Obi-Wan standing up in the ship like he's fucking Superman. You bad hero, you're betraying me. It's like, you were literally just saying how you're both going to rule the galaxy together. Now you're strangling the bitch. And then people are like, but the dark side has blinded him with rage. It's like, yes, okay. But you can forgive that, and you can't forgive The Last Jedi for a plot hole that happens on a casino planet. But the most iconic villain of all time is literally being pissed on as if it was 3 a.m. outside of a Shoreditch nightclub, and you're cool with it? No. I don't get it.
I love that analogy, by the way. Yeah, bro. It just didn't give me anything. It just gave me nothing. That film, like, honestly, I remember just watching and thinking, this
it's
doesn't
terrible.
do it for me. Just doesn't do it for me.
Fuck that film with the fire of 1,000 suns. I fucking hate that abomination.
And this is from a Star Wars guy.
Wars. Yeah. No series is perfect. That's the ink blot on the blemish on the Star Wars paper. And then people are like, Solo's terrible. Where?
I had a lot of fun with Solo.
Me too. Solo's a lot of fun. Fuck it. I don't get it. But you know what? Despite my anger, I will still come back to a positive in all this and say, do you know what? Film is one of the most subjective things in the world. There is no right and wrong here. It's all perception. My hatred for this film, there is someone out there who will show an equal amount of love for it. The karma balances everything out. So guys, if you love this film, genuinely, I'm happy for it because I want movies to be loved. And I wish people would show the relevant amount of love to the modern trilogy so that we didn't get dumb shithouse to be like, I didn't like The Last Jedi, so I'm not going to see Solo. Well, that's dumb.
Do you know, by that logic, right?
I wouldn't have seen any of the new trilogy. Fuck Revenge of the Sith. I don't like Star Wars anymore. No, I'm just hoping the next one's better.
Let's go deeper. By that logic, I don't think I would have even seen 4 because Captain America sucked.
Yeah.
The whole MCU would have stopped at film 2. Like, let's really take it deep. It just, yeah.
It's the lack of logic that is applied. If one film sucks, you continue to hate on it. That's your fucking prerogative as a human being. Like, you may like what you like and hate what you hate. That's cool. Don't go and fucking diss an entire franchise that you've inherently liked. Just hope the next movie's better. What, now we're getting supposedly a Taika Waititi Star Wars film that's set in the Old Republic? Are you not going to see that because you didn't like The Rise of Skywalker? Well, that's dumb. That's really dumb. Oh, but Taika's doing it. Oh, he gets a pass. No! If you're going to be a dick, at least be a consistent dick.
Hey, Terminator fans keep going back and they keep getting worse. Short of Dark Fate, but that was
short of Dark Fate. Anyway, fuck Revenge of the Sith. Over to your number 1.
Cosign. Okay, well, you said why so serious. Now it's my turn. Different character. The man who stole the show. The Joker.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
The Joker with Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah.
Nice shout.
Bro, I toyed and I was like, there was a part of me that was like, ugh, I don't want to do the 2 comic books in the top 3 and top 4. I was like, all kind of elements worked with it. And the more I toyed with it, I'm like, where does it fall? And I was like, no, this film was damn powerful. Because one of the key things that you always mention is being able to relate to the villain. This film makes us follow the villain's journey. Very much like Cruella, but obviously no way is Cruella going to make the list. But not in that, no disrespect to Cruella, but you follow the story of Arthur Fleck, a man who actually just wants to entertain the world. And you see what twists and turns him to become the Joker. And as much as it's, we both said it. You just said what makes Batman so awesome. We love the Dark Knight. Everything's always been pro Batman. We always know the arch enemy. At no point did I ever think you can convince me to follow the Joker story. Not only did I follow it and embrace it, I didn't actually care for the way that you can actually make the Waynes look like bad people, even though I'd still believe that part might be a figment of his imagination. It's really funny. I always say this. I always remember having a convo with a friend where I was like, Batman and the Joker could have been related. And the way they show that in that film, and you're like, ooh, that would make sense as to what, and it makes it that the also pristine Waynes actually had a dark side as well. But you take that away, even if that part's not real, society being what it is, and him unraveling it and exposing it, even to the fact of meeting his own idols and breaking them down. And then more than anything, okay, yes, we could say the villain wins by, him walking out of therapy with bloodstained boots. No. Do you see what the world looked like at the end of that film? And that is where I was like, the villain. It's very much like what I said when we look back at how Cobra started the war. Here's a man who made Gotham what it is. This was the real reason for the demand to get Batman. And that's why I was like, yeah. And it's a stellar performance by Phoenix. Stellar performance.
Oh, it is. It is. And I don't want to be drawn into the argument of which was better, him or Heath, because that's so different. They're so different.
Yeah.
You can't. Yeah. It's like comparing potatoes to apples. Yeah, they're both similar in the sense they're, fruit veg, but they're radically different. I love them both.
Yeah.
Although I have to say, that visual imagery, that final scene of when his mouth's bleeding and he takes the blood and makes the smile for himself, I think that is such a powerful piece of visual imagery.
It is. It really is. It really and truly is. Really and truly is. But yeah, you know, the one that I mean, I don't want to get into it too much because, well, we are on a limit here, but all that hate of, oh, it could corrupt the world. This isn't a film for people to watch. Get lost with that noise, please.
Same people who say that are the same people who blame the Columbine shooting on Marilyn Manson.
Yeah.
Oh, I listen to some angry music. I'm going to go shoot up a school now. It's like, no.
Exactly. Eminem, Marilyn Manson, all these guys just took all of this heat for nothing. Yeah.
I love Marilyn Manson gets a pass at me with that whole thing. Not that he had fucking anything to do with it. I mean, that's just about poor education at home. That's about fucking making guns way too accessible for kids. This is a whole other fucking debate, right? But when Manson was interviewed about this and he said, man, I would love to have that sort of power. I'd run for president, but I don't. I don't.
Yeah,
let's be real. I do not have that power. All right, my number one. You probably know what it is. It's the punt from earlier, and this was always going to happen. Empire Strikes Back.
Well, I get it. Like even for me, like putting it at 6 was like the biggest disservice. But then, as I said, The Vanishing blew me. I was really impressed by that film. You know, so that came in there. Fair. You know where our threes are. 7 just kept climbing. I don't know. Look, but
we were just talking a moment ago about the iconicity of Vader. Never has it been higher than in this film. There have maybe been cooler scenes like that fucking lightsaber hallway scene at the end of Rogue One. That was awesome. But the impact that Vader has in this movie, because in the original film, although Vader's the one you're naturally gravitating towards because of the way he's presented and because he's kind of the last remnants of this kind of untold power called the Force. It's all very kind of smoke and mirrors type thing. Peter Cushing's the proper villain in the original, you know, Grand Moff Tarkin, you know, he's the one who orders Alderaan to be destroyed. He's the one who orders Leia to be tortured, you know. He's a bad man. And he controls Vader. You know, when Vader's choking the guy inside the control room, Tarkin says, Vader, release him. Go on.
Yes, boss.
Go. As you command. You know, he's got Vader kind of by the leash. Not so in Empire. Empire, Vader goes beast mode. He fucking starts killing motherfuckers off for fun. And you can tell he is completely in control in this film. Not only is he the one pulling all the strings as far as the operational military procedures are going, he's got his own vendetta of finding Luke Skywalker while managing the full might of the Imperial Army. He's plotting with the bounty hunters. Like, he's not afraid to play dirty. That's what I think is so great about him in this.
You know what I think, and I have to be honest. The more I think of it, my misfortune with Empire is I knew it was coming. A lot like when I said Usual Suspects. If you know, it kind of dampens. So I know what it's like on a first-hand experience. Like, you know, that's. Again, I come back to it. I can only imagine people talking about this very similar to the way they did Infinity War. Like, it must have been like, what? He's Luke's father. Oh my god, he cut off Luke's hand. Oh my god, they won. Oh my god, what come? Like the oh my god, that must have come from all of this. The discussions, the debates, and this can't happen and that can't happen and how is that possible? Like, it goes on for a day and there's and a bit. I can only but imagine it. So it's a very, very valid number one.
I don't think there's a bigger case of the villain winning.
No,
it's like Han Solo's in carbonite. They've had to evacuate their base on Hoth. Luke stopped training with Yoda, therefore stopped gaining his power. Vader's revealed the ultimate truth to him and invited him to come and fucking join the dark side. Luke said no, so Vader sliced his man's hand off and he's still after him. It's like, can the heroes get a win here, please? Yeah. Can they get something?
Give me some kind of a hint for the third film. Like, I need something. You need to give me something. Even Infinity War showed me Iron Man was still here. Like, give me something.
The heroes in this movie get bent over with no Vaseline. It's next level. And Vader's just such a fucking presence in this film. It's cool. This is why it's this film that reinforces what I was saying earlier, why he is the fucking greatest villain of all time. Because as I said, in the original movie, it's kind of on a string. In the third movie, big boy Palpatine's around, you know?
Yeah.
He's subservient again. This movie, he's the big bad. There's no one above. I mean, yes, there's... Okay, Star Wars fans are going to kill me here. There is that scene in the chamber where the Emperor, for the first time, comes on hologram and he says, "What is it you command, my lord?" You know, it's... So you know the Emperor's there in the background. Vader's running the show in this film. He's not running the show in the third film.
No.
This is the film that made him that icon.
Yeah. No, for sure.
And yeah, for that reason, it had to be my number one. However, as far as Rushmore is concerned, as we're going to talk about that now, I'd like to pitch one of two things to you, and we can debate on which we go with. So I think we can agree that in a world where we put things like Identity in Chinatown alongside Empire, it's a steamrolling, right?
Yeah.
So I think we've either got to go just big IPs or just no big IPs. I don't think we can mix and match. And even if we go big IPs, even if we put the amazing Infinity War, it's Empire.
Star Wars.
It's not just Star Wars. This is the movie. This is the best of the whole fucking 10 movies. Sorry, 11 movies now. 12 if you count the Christmas special. Stop being pedantic, Star Wars fans.
I love how you answer them before they even get a chance to type.
No, I know. I know this community, mate. I know how fucking exact. I'm right, you're wrong. I know what it's like.
You can hear the keyboard, can't you?
Oh, you can. So this is the big movie and the most beloved franchise ever. Like nothing is going to touch this. You know, we can put in Avengers Infinity War, we can put Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and we can put, what's another big IP? We can put, Dark Knight, or we could put Joker in there, you know?
Yeah.
Star Wars is going to steamroll everything.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So do you want to go more sort of non-big IPs, or do you just want to
let's do non? Let's do... Do you know what it is? Is that there's a part of me that would love to. Yeah, we're talking MCU versus Star Wars. Let's do this. But
MCU's taking the loss, mate.
But this is the thing. It's sometimes you just see the writing on the wall. The same way you kind of correct yourself instantly each time. It's kind of like that. So I tell you what. Let's hear what the Twitterverse had to say while I mull over it. I'm sure it kind of sets the tone anyway. But let's go. Out of interest.
Let's bring up the question. So I put the question out as I do every single week on Twitter. You can find us on Twitter at MovieMT Rushmore, or just search Movie Mount Rushmore podcast. And I really love our, 30,000 plus podcast subscribers to kind of transfer over to Twitter, but it doesn't seem to be happening. Anyway, that's my missus. I apologize for the beeping. Right. So, sorry, there's been a lot of tweeting going on this week.
Hey, it happens.
What's the best? It's quite. People had an opinion. I'm not sure we can go through all of them, but I'll read a few off. Again, guys, apologies just for the sake of keeping the podcast / show in a timely manner. I don't think I can read out 186 comments. It'd be really helpful if my Wi-Fi decided to work so I could get the fucking tweet up. Oh, I hate it when it does this. Sorry, bear with me.
No, it's fine. Part of me wants to help you, but then it kind of spoils the next part if I go.
I'm not even lying. It won't load. Look.
No, I believe you.
An error was encountered. I'm holding it up on screen now, and I'm reading out to you on pod. An error was encountered. So,
okay, guys. Not much we can do because the next part of the game relies on me. Not
in the interest of fairness, because I did see most of them coming. I can tell you the two that came up again and again and again and again and again was Seven and The Usual Suspects.
They were both kind of on my list of to go fors. I mean, this is we are in a world where both Jokers are eliminated as well, right? anything to do with the DC or Marvel universe and Star Wars universe is out.
Dark Knight, yes. Joker, I'm on the fence about because it's so fucking different. Actually, no, that'll be ridiculous if we say no big IPs in the Twitter poll, and then we've put Joker in there. People will just not be happy with that.
So I'm interested. Usual Suspects and Seven we both had. From your list, and it's weird. Silence of the Lambs kind of toys with me.
Yeah, same.
I'm kind of interested to see how the Vanishing works, but it's well known, but I don't. It's a weird one.
In this poll, I have a feeling Vanishing will take a royal pounding, mate. They'll get votes, but I'm predicting somewhere between 9 to 12%. Think about that.
Other one I lean to.
Vamp for a minute.
Okay. It's an interesting one, guys. If you are there, I would like to hear the feedback. Chris, I know you're one of the people who listen to the podcast as well as tweet, which we love, guys. So if you are a listener, please do tweet us at Movie MT Rushmore. We'd love to hear your feedback. The only other common film, and when Nico does return, I'm sure it's one we could toy with. I do believe Chinatown was another commonality.
Chinatown is where I was going next.
We can work with that.
Come up a bit, by the way, on Twitter.
I'm sure it did, rightfully so. One sec.
What are you saying? I mean, I think we've got a 4 there. Are you happy with those?
Yeah. In the world of having to work with what's what. Yeah. I'm waiting to see. As I said while you were away, it's just one of those things, because I've also seen like the tomato scoring, and that's not what led to me putting the vote. There's a few people who know about The Vanishing, so I'd like to hear what people think of The Vanishing while we're out there. But it's just to be fair, no. I like Chinatown, and I it's hard to go for China. It's hard to go for The Vanishing over. Put it this way, Chinatown's more locked in. It's more Silence of the Lambs I'm then toying with, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to toy with that. That's the difficult thing.
Yeah.
Give me one sec.
Yep. I mean, it's so happy to rock and roll with this.
When
I keep giving you sex, AJ.
Come again? Screwed.
No, nothing. Carry on.
No, I went for the almighty coin toss on Google between those two films. Now I'm gonna go with Silence of the Lambs just because I know it's guaranteed to be known, and I really don't want to see a film get massacred. That's the only reason I'm gonna go with that.
So we are going to make a very, very clear note on Twitter that this is excluding, in big capitals, excluding any big IPs.
Yeah.
No Star Wars, no MCU, no DC.
I'm going to ask a question, and you be very honest on this with me.
Go.
Yeah. Does Silence of the Lambs fall into IP because it has like the whole collection?
Not big IP, but come on. I knew that question was coming, and the fact that you're asking it means people are going to challenge it. But it's not a single one of those movies is $1 billion franchise. We're talking big IPs here.
Bro, I get it. I just wanted to play the interest of fairness. Yeah.
Also, can I be real? Just to further reinforce how much I think Star Wars would steamroll this, one thing I did make note of is I think Infinity War, on that Twitter question, I think he came up once. People legit didn't think of. Yeah, mad. I would have thought that would come up. Yeah, it did not come up.
To be fair, though, even for me, Empire was like my go-to film. Like, when you hear it, you're like, yo, the bad guy wins. Like, I was brought up knowing the bad guy wins in Empire, even without seeing it. Okay. Let's do this.
Ladies and gentlemen, the official movie Mount Rushmore of movies where the villain wins in no particular order is
Chinatown.
Our second entry is
The Usual Suspects.
Our third entry is
7.
Our final entry into the movie Mount Rushmore of movies where the bad guy wins is
Silence of the Lambs. Sorry, I always think of Jim Carrey when I do that. Right, that's a big one. That's a big one. Okay, guys, why did the Silver Screen Dudes debate Twitter, but not as much as usual? Because hey, the Twitterverse didn't get a chance to reply this week. It's Wi-Fi. Don't blame us. Because we have had the very challenging topic of having to pick the 4 must-see films of the genre where the villain wins. However, down to you. It's now time to quote Highlander. There can only be one. So once again, Chinatown, The Usual Suspects, Silence of the Lambs, and 7. Which of these films is the must-see movie? And that's not down to us, it's down to you. Because we, the Silver Screen Dudes, aka at Movie MT Rushmore, pair up with JT of We Love Movies at Movie Polls for You on Twitter. And you guys have to put the vote out. And no, you can't vote twice because we will be retweeting what JT puts out. And last week, our topic was...
Last week, our topic was movies that audiences love but critics hate.
And our contenders were?
Please wait a second. I'm looking for the damn tweet. Sorry, man. Oh, come on. As I said, it's been a very, very busy, active week on Twitter.
I believe that. I can say them if you want.
No. I'm bringing up the tweet here. As I said, it's been crazy. Christ on a bike. I think I've got it here. This is ridiculous.
Guys, look, while Nico's doing his part, I'm just going to keep ramping because, hey, we are the Silver Screen Dudes. We do appreciate every moment that you guys put to us. Even this, look, it's live. We are self-funded, so if anyone wants to put a sponsorship, comment below. But no, joking aside, this is why stuff happened. We're just 2 guys with our small devices making stuff happen while also maintaining our own personal careers. So here I am trying to vamp, and my missus is calling me, so I'm now going to push the phone away so it doesn't go into the microphone, and just tell you guys that we do appreciate everything, and all interaction is appreciated. Whether you want to visit www.silverscreendudes.com, whether you want to visit at MOW News, whether you want to visit Ministry of Wrestling on Twitter, on Instagram, actually, or Facebook, or even if you want to do all things movies, at Movie MT Rushmore, once again, on Twitter, at The Silver Screen Dudes on Instagram, or Silver Screen Dudes on Facebook. It's all there. And Nico is also doing a bit of game streaming out there. Do you see how busy we are while still maintaining personal lives, guys? So, like, don't hate on the fact that Wi-Fi, again, not Nico, Wi-Fi chooses to challenge us so we can't pull up the tweets. That's just the way life is. And
it's crazy ridiculous here. Like, all of these bloody responses to movies where the bloody villain wins.
Oh, right, so you're back at that.
Yeah, and I'm trying to find the damn tweet. God damn it. It's still going. Like, it's pages and pages and pages. I am so sorry.
No, it's cool. It's cool. You keep putting out there. But guys, again, because the comments haven't been there, I was going to say tweet about the films that you think should have made the list, but that probably was listed in the other bit. But no, the Rushmore's out there. Do respond. Tell us, where was Identity? Where was 300? Where, you know, these are films we'd love to go on to. We didn't even really touch on horror. Yes, there was Rosemary's Baby. We didn't touch on Freddy. Like, Freddy always wins. It didn't happen. So we hope that with all of this, we are providing edutainment. That's what it's all about. So you get that touch of edutainment. We're trying to hit you with the films that aren't the big IPs. Even if Freddy was in, he's a huge IP. He wouldn't have made the list. But this is just the way. And another thing, guys, no matter what platform, hit us up, because these are topics we're picking and we're kind of tying it in with the cinemas again. But fan selection is always appreciated. So if there is a top 10 you would love to see us take on, we will take it on. You may not see it straight away because sometimes it requires a bit of research and we need to get the films under our belt because, hey, no one can just watch 10 films just like that. So 11, actually, because we also do a worst. So, no, do hit us up. Let us know what it's all about. Again, www.silverscreendudes.com at Movie MT Rushmore, because there you can do a tweet, just one line. Even if it's a selection of films you'd like us to take on, we'll take it on. And that's that. Video games. If there's a video game you'd like to see us take on, hit us up on the website or on one of our other Instagram or Twitter pages. We pay attention to them all. So any interaction is always appreciated. And more importantly, 31,000 subscribers
33.
around the world. Excuse me, what? 33. 3 is a magic number. You guys have proven it. 33,000 subscribers out there.
Bro, I can't find it.
It's not echoed. Oh, shit.
I'm giving up. I'm sweating.
Do you know the results of the poll?
No.
Okay. So next week we will do a...
Just do me a favor, because I looked at it a few days ago, and I'm going to go with that. Just remind me who the fucking entrants were.
Okay. Last week, our contenders were Hook, Man on Fire, Man of Steel, and Ace Ventura, When Nature Calls.
Pretty sure Man on Fire won.
Anyway, do you know what though? I think there could have also been a poll out of what is the biggest injustice, because I still believe that Hook is been done dirty out of all of those there. Like all of them hurt, but I think Hook. Jumanji was another one. I still don't.
Ridiculous.
It just doesn't. I don't know. Well, that was interesting, guys. Normally there's a little game where I try to figure out what was what.
Guys, it's been the first time that's ever happened in ever, and I'm really sorry. Our Twitter literally blew up this week, and like an idiot, I didn't pin this tweet to the top of our profile. My fault. I can only apologize. My bad.
Listen, stuff happened. It happened. Yeah, there's no.
All right.
I saw a Champions League thing there. For some reason, I thought I would have had a bit of luck by just opening, but
forget it.
Right. Okay. So what we will do, just in the interest of fairness, we will open next week's show with it. Like, hey, I don't mind scrolling through and putting up a fit. Well, if I scroll through, I can't play the game. But yeah, we will officially confirm that, and we will read out your tweets and comments as per usual. I think I've done enough of the usual spiel.
Yeah. No, you've done very good at vamping and killing time. Well played. Let's wrap it up.
Thank you very much. So, guys, once again, at Movie MT Rushmore and at Movie Polls for you will be able to cast your vote as to which film is your favorite film where the bad guy wins, and time permitting, we will read them all out. So until the next time, I am the one AJ Anthony Jordan.
I'm the one who feels very stupid right now, and I apologize. I'm Nico Luro.
We are all good. Okay, guys, thank you very much. As always, like, comment, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend, because 33,000 could always be 34,000. We appreciate you all. So until the next time, we're out. See ya.